Welcome to the Road Soda Podcast. The Road Soda Podcast is your entertainment podcast on the go. Your host Isaiah Cooper and Kristie, and an occasional third wheel, present a variety of fun segments from offbeat news to Netflix reviews, with interludes from our sponsors and parent company, Popco Brands. Fasten your seatbelts and please listen responsibly to Road Soda.
Are you looking for a discreet place for intimate one-on-one relations with the sexiest of all sea creatures, the octopus? Do you crave the sensational touch of 8 jelly-like appendages? Then come to Road Soda's Tentacle House. We have a lovely array of gorgeous octopi, all waiting to give you the night of your life. The Tentacle House is located right on the shoreline, down in the Fisherman's Wharf, and departs each evening promptly at 8 p.m. Venture out into international waters where relations with an octopus is legal and encouraged. The Road Soda Tentacle House. Your octomistress awaits.
Hello and thank you for spanking another chode holda. The podcast with 3 times the foreskin. It's a lot of foreskin.
How's that possible?
Some people are just blessed, baby. Hashtag blessed.
Yeah, but
on this episode, we rip through the Christmas Chronic, and we get paranormal and weird with Chaz of the Dead. The Dead. Mr. Chaz.
Yes.
Yeah, very special. So this episode of Chode Holda is a little bit different. Also, I got to give credit where credit's due, and your brother Michael is supposed to be on the podcast at some point. Super interesting guy, very driven, awesome, fun guy, real fun dude to chill with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really cool. But we asked him to be on the show, and he was like. He called at one point. He was like, "Oh, so are we gonna do Chode Soda?" And I was like, "Oh man, I've been doing Road Soda for so long, and I've never said that. It never crossed my mind."
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's so
really
weird.
upset. Neither one of us thought of it.
And it's so weird because, like, that's totally something I would think of.
Me too.
It's so cheesy and stupid and easy.
Yeah, when he said it, you were like, "How have I not picked that low-hanging fruit?" And I'm like, it really is.
It's so low. It's fucking dirty on the ground hanging. It's already dropped off the tree. But like, I think I made an intro once. It was like something about Toad, like Toad. Like, so it's even still, it's like, I guess, I'm just so, I'm so pure and holy. My mind's just not in the gutter. I'm not thinking about all that dirty stuff. You know
Maybe
what I mean?
it's because your dick's big, thick, and long and not short and fat. Ooh. So you don't have a chode. So you're
That's
not
what they
thinking
call
about chode.
pencil dick.
No, I said
pencil
big,
dick.
Thick and long. Mm-hmm. The skinny long ones are pencil dicks. And then you have like the skinny long ones that are really curved, like a bit like an over curved banana. Those are fucking weird too.
Over curved banana.
And you got the crooked ones.
Sure, yeah, I know about all the dicks. Mm-hmm. I know about all kinds of different dicks. All because I'm hanging around them all the time.
Yeah,
getting intimate with
getting slapped with dicks in the face all the time.
All different.
That's why we have so much in common,
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I can tell you about different vaginas.
You might know more about furchinas. Did you know that my mom says furchina?
Yeah, I mean it's
but like not because she's trying to be funny.
Well, or that she's trying to like avoid saying the word vagina, or is it just because it's like these little remnants of hillbilly that are left
it's the hillbilly remnants, and I think probably like not knowing what the word really was for so long, and just saying what it sounded like. Like it took her years to be able to say birthday with a TH and not an F.
Birthday.
Like you would just try, and it's just birthday.
Wow.
And so she'd be like, "Yeah, it's your furchina."
It's your furchina. And
she made us call it as a kid. I think I've told you this. My mom made us call our furchinas. It was our doo-doo.
Right.
Like wipe your doo-doo, clean your doo-doo. What's wrong with your doo-doo? And it's just like, why would you make us call our kitty cat the same word as people call poop?
Yeah.
Like doo-doo is poop.
It's like watch your disgusting disgusting piece of thing down there.
Yeah, that's her for sure. She's like,
don't look at it when you wash it. And if it starts to feel good, you go to timeout.
Yeah, because my family's like a bunch of raging pervs. My dad was too, except my mom is like the prudest, non-sexual. Like I don't know where you guys got that from. Like, yes, you do. You married him.
She knows what she likes.
Anyway,
she knows what she's into.
Please refer to it as doo-doo from here on out.
I will refer to it, especially around your mom.
And my sister calls Lawrence's knob Mr. Willies, and I really like that.
That's fun. How about
Sorry, I
just
just
penis?
took control of your intro.
Oh my god, I've just been having a silent panic attack over here. That's all. I need to have control at all times.
Mr. Willies, I love it.
That's your Mr. Willies.
Is that Mr. Willies?
I feel like it should be like a kid's cartoon.
What would the character be?
Mr. Willies.
This would just be a big dick?
Kind of, but you'd have to like church it up, kind of make it look
like a pickle.
Yeah, like a pickle with a hat on.
Pickles and mushrooms or something?
Yeah, pickles and mushrooms, and they teach you all about good hygiene and all that kind of stuff.
It's a great idea. Maybe we can be the new Blippy.
I don't know.
And we'll make Mr. Willies.
Mr. Willies. Honestly, after that was a conversation. After watching, so we had Adelaide over the weekend, as we always do, and my sister was here with her husband, and he's like, "Have you ever checked out Blippy?" And I was like, "No," but it was interesting because just earlier, like maybe the day before, I was putting a show on for Adelaide, and I saw it on there. I was like, "Oh, Blippy," right? And then it's so funny to be so out of the loop about something that's so mega famous.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I'd never even heard of it.
Of course. Never heard of it, but it's like anybody with a kid is like, I fucking know Blippy.
Lawrence is 3, and all we do is YouTube too.
Yeah.
And, like.
It's crazy. I mean, and then we all became so fascinated talking about like how many subscribers he has. He has like 10.4 million subscribers and looking up his fucking net worth. 40 mils, by the way. 40 mil. All that merch and all that fucking views. Jesus.
Didn't you say he used to film Mr. Willies and Doo-Doos?
Yeah, so Anna was like, oh, before this, he was a porn star, but I looked it up, and he wasn't a porn star. He was what they call a gross out comedian, or what do you call it? A gross out comedian. His name was Skeezy Grossman, because his name is Steven Grossman. Mm-hmm. And he once made a video of him shitting on his naked friend's chest. And he's like, I mean, I thought it was funny at the time.
Yeah, like when you first say it, I'm like, that's hilarious. And then you like really think
but
about
was it
and
sexual?
Like,
he's like, but he says that he was a comedian he was doing it in like the vein of humor. But if there's shit and there's someone naked, there's someone hard.
Yeah, but like when you and I are sitting down watching like comedy clips endlessly, like I don't think I would watch one with someone else. I'm like, dude, this guy's shitting on his chest.
And there's 8 billion people in the world. There's definitely people who are turning that on and being like, it's not my cup of tea. No. It's not my cup of shit. You know what I mean? But and I thought that was super interesting. But it's like, man, I couldn't like be the character, because I would hate being out in public, because sometimes, I'm in a shit mood, and it would really suck for a little kid to come up and have their heart broken because I'm just in like a shitty mood. Like I don't think I could do it. So I would like, it would have to be like, maybe I could voice a character, or maybe it could be something in a costume, or like really put a costume on so you can't see, so you can take it off and go out and be normal, and people and like kids aren't running up to you wherever you go and be like, oh my God, it's a Blippy! Yeah. Like that's crazy. But
that's so weird. You don't really get in shitty moods very often though,
Yeah, never. Almost never.
I tried so hard not to make a joke. I'm really sorry.
Wow. You should really, I think you should start teaching classes at Medic's Pets Company. You really got the petty thing down.
I think I was already going to ask at the end of this, when you asked me what I learned, that I was going to say, you're a bigger bitch than Megan.
No, I am Megan. Anyway, look, guys, this episode, now that it's like just trying to zhuzh you guys up. Look, there's no news in this one. I'm sorry. It's my favorite segment.
No news.
It's Kristie's whining. She's the worst. No. You know what I mean? She says that she hates it. And then every time we have one where she's in a good mood, at the end she goes, oh my God, I actually had a lot of fun. But then she still sticks to this, I hate that segment.
Wow. I know, I do. I like actually really. We have a lot of fun when we do it.
So, but we're not doing that because we have something special. We have a very, very special interview that I did. It was actually a couple of weeks ago. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have the Millennial Book Club. And then as soon as the Millennial Book Club is over, we have an interview with Mr. Chaz of the Dead.
I'm actually super fucking excited to listen to that.
Yeah?
I know we talked about it a lot.
And now that I'm thinking
I've got the
it
cliff
should...
notes, but like I haven't listened to it yet, and I'm actually really, really excited.
Oh, there's cliff notes to the book?
No, like your cliff notes of the interview.
Oh, right.
Because you told me all about it.
I was like, are there I don't think there's cliff notes. But, I'm trying to...
Oh, you're just going through your phone?
I am. Sometimes I just want to go through my phone because I just can't live without it in some moments. So anyway, his book is, you guys should, check out his book. Go get it. His book is Paranormal Expeditions Hunt for the Friendship, right? And a story of UFOs, Nazis, psychedelics, and an expedition to the edge of the world.
All of our favorite things.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. And it's in the interview, I talk about how I heard about him, why we're doing an interview together. It's pretty interesting. I think he's a really cool dude. It's actually really serendipitous and like very coincidental. What's the other word? Serendipity.
That would have been my other one.
Coincidental. But there's another. That's a blank. Oh my God.
Do not do that thing where you...
I absolutely did that thing. You can hear I cut off Kristie. I paused it because I needed to look up that word. Synchronicity. It was a really interesting synchronicity of how I heard about him and then reached out to him. And I hope you guys really like it. I hope you guys really like the interview. We haven't done an interview in a long time, and I want to have more. I don't want to have an interview every episode, but every couple episodes I think it would be really nice to toss some stuff in here. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I had a really nice, good time with Mr. Chaz. And, yeah. But
that's it? There's no phone call?
No, we don't have any phone calls. Why, did you make a phone call?
No. I didn't. No, I didn't. It's just usually after you're a really big bitch, somebody's listening and, they want to defend all the women's rights.
I don't know. Let's see if they made a phone call.
They didn't.
Wait a minute.
This is in the mail that you have yet to extend your warranty.
I fucking hate you.
This is a courtesy call to renew your warranty.
Oh, right. Okay. Don't forget to renew a warranty, baby. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. Check out his book. Well, because I'm like, it's weird, but yeah. Let me give you the title one more time. Paranormal Expeditions: Hunt for the Friendship. A history of UFOs, Nazis, psychedelics, and an expedition to the edge of the world. You can follow him at Chaz of the Dead on Instagram. So at CHAZ of the Dead on Instagram and everywhere else. And I hope you guys enjoy the interview, and I hope you guys enjoy the Millennial Book Club. But first,
how about a fucking word from my sponsors? Is that right?
has this ever happened to you? Huh, check out this link. Okay. Oh, this is a little naughty. Oh my God! What you thought was an innocent hardcore porn link turns out to be horrific fecal play or worse. The World Wide Web is filled with terrible content, near impossible to avoid. Witnessing this content can cause severe psychological damage. Remember is here to change that. Scientifically proven and tested, Remember brings you back through the content that damaged your mind, altering key components, virtually rewriting your memory.
I was tricked into watching Mr. Hands one time only because I love horses so much, especially my horse Buster. I was so scarred from that video, I didn't even ride a horse or even look at Buster for months. But then I found Remember. Now my memory is the heroic tale of a horse giving its owner the Heimlich remover. Thank you, Remember.
If you are mentally and emotionally broken because of content your awful friends have sent, you can't unsee it, but you can remember it. A Popco brand. Millennial Book Club. Millennial Book Club.
3, 2, farts.
Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Sarah.
This is Megan's bitch company.
I said masturbate.
This is... Shut up, bitch. This is Megan's bitch company. I'm a total bitch. I'm also the CEO and founder of Megan's bitch company. Duh.
Just a couple of bad bitches doing bitch stuff.
That's right. Bitches get everything they want, always. So that's why I started this company. To help all the non-bitches be bitches to get what they want. And just in time for the holiday season. We teach you everything you need to know about being petty.
Being what?
Petty.
Potty.
You heard what I said, stupid. Not that you would know anything about that. Being manipulative.
This went from like a bitch.
It's easy to do if you're not stupid. But you're stupid, so you can't do it. If you're a simple, nice girl, get this. No one likes you. And we can fix that. We will make you a bitch, and you will get what you want. With our training, you will walk over every spineless man and be the queen of your friends group.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And who cares if they talk shit behind your back? Just hire one of those dickless fools to slash their tires.
Your face.
Log on to megansbitchcompany.com and start having fun and get the gifts you truly want this holiday season.
I just really like that you went from like a petty bitchy girl to at the end just like Megan's deaf. I was like what it sounded like. You know what I mean?
I think Megan's would have some choice words for you. I don't think she's
I'm
deaf.
sorry.
Oh my God. Welcome to the Millennial Book Club, where we are just watching Netflix originals. No books involved, so please don't get scared, don't run away, stick around. Last week we said we were watching the Christmas Chronic 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the Christmas Chronicles 2 with Mr. John Lippy himself.
Huh?
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name. What's his name?
Kurt Russell?
I was gonna say
Kurt Russell.
Tucker Peterson?
And Goldie Hawn.
Goldie's Hans.
Not your best work.
How about you quit judging my jokes, and you can tell me my jokes aren't funny, but just not laughing. That joke wasn't funny. Cool, thanks. You know how I knew? You didn't laugh. Man, are you like...
Wow.
You must be...
Looks like Megan's bitch company is really working for you.
Yeah. It feels like you're the vice president.
No.
Kristie's... Are you going to break off and start your own company? Kristie's Cunt Works?
That's actually pretty good.
Kristie's Cunt does work.
I know that's right.
Aha! The Christmas Chronicles. This whole time I'm just buying time so I can...
I know. That's why it wasn't your best work. I mean, I'm sorry.
All my work is my best work.
Is that silent enough?
No. 2. There we go. And Christmas Chronicles 2. Teenager Kate Pierce is reunited with Santa Claus when a troublemaker threatens to cancel Christmas.
Belsnickel.
Forever. And if you ruin one more thing, it'll be the 10th thing to... It'll be the... Jeez. It'll be it. Where's our, like, morning radio... Netflix, it's rated 6 out of 10 on Netflix right now. It's 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. And IndieWire gave it a whopping 1.5 out of 5. How do you feel?
About the 1.5 out of 5?
Nah. About the movie. Don't worry about those schmucks. Any of those schmucks.
I mean,
tell me how you
I
felt.
get where someone's coming with the 1.5 out of 5. I just love the Christmas Chronicles so much that it didn't matter. I still loved
happy.
number 2. Yeah, but it did that thing that every movie does where they make a sequel to it or whatever, and then they take You know, the first one's obviously about them like discovering Santa and him being real and putting belief back. And then this one, they just took all the fucking elves and they take like the craziest parts of the first movie and make it the entire second one. So like that heartfelt storyline isn't even there anyway.
I think, so there's the heartfelt boo-hoo of Chronicles.
But it is, but I'm in part of the Dead Dad Club, so like I really...
Yeah, well, they touched on that shit.
Well, yeah, but that's like the boo-hoo about it.
Right.
Which was the boo-hoo about the first one, too.
So here, first of all, there's not even... Yeah, Common Sense Media, that's like not even the same ranking system. They gave it a 3 out of 5, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. And that was for the first one.
That's just because it's only because they made this whole thing about the elves. It was so much elf and so much craziness. I don't think it was so much about the elf at all. Well, no, there was just so much elves in it.
Well, yeah, because
it wasn't like the first one.
So here's how, like, you connect with the first movie because it's, you know, I'm on that club.
No, that's how I connect to the boo.
Can I finish a goddamn sentence? This Megan.
Careful what you wish for.
Megan's
take it away, Isaiah.
Bitch company is really working out for me. You know, sometimes we feel like it's okay just to say whatever you want to say, but you mask it with a funny voice. And that's true. You can do that. Anyway, so you connect with the first one, right? Because it's a time in this girl's life. All this stuff like just happened. And it's like, but do you want to keep reliving the same part of your life over and over again? Like, so that movie, it's her at that age. But then the next step in that evolution of a girl, like, or anybody losing their family is like then growing up and coping with it. And the parent, the living parent is then going to try to get with somebody else. So then it's like that, okay, so what's the next obstacle in that person's life? And that's what they went over. That's what this one was. So it's like, they can't just keep cranking out the same movie with this girl sobbing about, you know, boo-hoo from like the first one, you know? They're like, it's this girl and each, you know, she's a little older. This is the next stage. This is the next thing she has to go through. Now your turn.
Oh, well, thank you.
See how when a thought's finished?
See how I started to say a couple words and then you just
there wasn't anything there.
Did it again.
See? There's nothing there.
No, I wasn't talking about the boo-hoo, and that's what I liked about it. You said there's a boo-hoo in it, and I said, yeah, but I'm part of the Dead Dad Club, so like that's why I like the boo-hoo part of it. That's not like what I like about the movie, and I don't feel like that was the whole premise of the first movie. I was just saying.
I feel like you're being really mean right now.
They did that thing where you have a movie and everybody loves it, and then they make the sequel. It's like The Hangover and then The Hangover 2. Hangover 2 is still good, but it's just so blown up and so much crazier. Yeah. So it's never as good. So that's all I was saying is they did that thing where they made a sequel, blew it up, made it a little crazier.
Right.
So it wasn't as good, but the people that are like fans still love it.
I mean...
And I don't really give a shit about like the coming of age issues part of it.
Well, I mean, but that's like what the storyline is like based around. But I feel like... I mean, Rotten Tomatoes gave the second one a better rating than the first one by 3%. So they say it's better. I've always been somebody who's like not on board with the whole sequel thing is trash thing. Just because people's enjoyment and love for something is so much attached to the moment that they saw it. Not the movie itself. Like, yes, it's a good movie. It's a very fun movie, but it's attached to like the night they watched it, the feeling they were in, the mood they were in. And then when you approach the second one, you're like, better be as good as that first one. And you watch it through these eyes of like, is it as good? It's not like the first one. And I'm not talking about just you. It's like, and I think so many second movies get a shit rap. But like, if they made the first one just like this, it would be too much. It would be way too much. But what happened is they made the first one to introduce you. They gave a little bit of magic, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But then they gave you this second one, and they were like, okay, now that you're comfortable with Santa being like this fucking wizard, and you're comfortable with these little elves, let's put you deeper into the universe, like deeper into the world. And like the whole time I was thinking about like watching it and thinking about that, I'm like, this is like really cool because now they can continue to crank these out like every couple of years, like Christmas Chronicles 4, because there's so many characters involved now and there's so many intricate things. And it's cool because it's also like mythical. It's like, it's not just Fat Man coming down a chimney. Like he's like a superhero. He's like this omnipotent fucking like God kind of thing, and it's like, it's like I want an action figure of Santa now, you know. Now, what are your thoughts? What are your?
I really don't. I don't like this form of dialogue.
What are your thoughts?
Where like you talk for 2 minutes, and then I pause and I talk. I like to.
We can do that. Go 1, 2, 3, go. My
No,
mouth
it's okay.
is cottoned.
No, I agree, and I'm definitely not like a sequel is trash person. I just think it's a common thing that happens. They really crank up the crazy.
Yeah.
So the first one is just more beloved. That's all.
Yeah.
And it
Beloved
touches
is a
on
good word, yeah.
it touches on like the basic story of Christmas and people believing in it. So it's just like the best ever. And the second one just gets a little bit crazier. I still very much love it. I don't like trash the sequels, you know, but like Indiana Jones can have like a bunch of movies and all of them are awesome. You know, you're not like, that one was fucking stupid and crazy.
Yeah, I love every
So, like,
Indiana Jones movie.
I really liked that they put a lot more of Goldie Hawn in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they do the old school magical Santa and he gives you that warm, fuzzy. It's just.
I think he's
the
giving
best
you
Christmas.
something different.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's like, I said that in the first one. He's like one of my favorite Santas because
Oh,
he's
for
real.
sure.
He doesn't look like a Coke can Santa. It's not fucking Tim Allen.
Right.
He's my favorite
He's a good
Santa.
Santa. You're right.
And
agree.
I was concerned that Goldie Hawn wasn't going to be the best Mrs. Claus, but I just love her so much. I just
think she's
love
great.
these fucking movies.
Yeah.
And I do think they're obviously, you know, like you can watch Elf and everybody enjoys it. These are definitely kids' movies, but I love
don't
them.
know.
They're
I
like
think-
a
yeah.
classic.
And I think my mom, and I was always kind of how I base it because she's like older and I'm always I'm like in tune with the kind of she's very like in a very specific age group of like people that watch certain things. And I know she watched the first one and she enjoyed it. And I think she would probably watch the entirety of the second one, but like the thing that would get her there is obviously Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. You know what I mean? Like if they weren't in it, she wouldn't even give it the time of day. But because they're in it, she'd like, I'll sit down. They're fun to watch. That was kind of silly, but you know.
Yeah, they just took it a little sillier, which
Yeah.
I didn't mind. I'm not like bashing it by any means. It's just, I just feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
It always cranks up the crazy.
It does. And half the time it's a money grab. Like with a lot of movies, that's why a lot of them, like that's kind of where it came from. Is like you make one movie and it's a fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then all the executives and everything like, come on, let's fucking crank another one out. And the second one, like the writer probably worked his ass off and like was inspired, had all this stuff to create the first one. The second one, he's not going to turn down that fat check and he's got to write it in like a year. So it's always shit, right? But like, there's the other sequel thing. It's slowly wading into the waters of the world that they're trying to create. Like we wrote this first movie and it's not so crazy. We're giving you those, like kind of like I said earlier, we're giving you these tastes, but now with the second one, now you're a little deeper and a little like now you're more comfortable like coming further into this crazy world that we're trying to build.
Yeah, because you're either going to take the baseline story and apply it to a new set of characters,
Right.
or you're going to take the original story and go the next route. I mean, I could think of other things that they could do with it. You know, I'm not like going super crazy, critical, analytical.
Yeah.
All I know is, I mean, I don't know. They just cranked up the crazy. It was a little much. There were parts of it where I'm like, this is fucking lame.
Yeah, there
but
are
like
parts
I love
where
it
it's
so
like
much.
kind of cheesy.
Yeah,
but
it was just.
I love that. I kind of love the cheesy too, though. I'm like, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I just love. I think there's so many new Christmas movies,
Yeah.
and everybody has the same handful of staple classic Christmas movies, and I don't think there's been a new one that's come out where I'm like, this is a fucking classic, and this is a new staple, and I felt that way about the first Christmas Chronicles, and I just love it so much.
Yeah, and I really think it's going to be something. As long as these two can walk and act, they're going to keep cranking them out, and we'll see the little girl grow up, and she'll probably have kids, and because even the name of the movie, Christmas Chronicles, it means there's these multiple chronicling stories about fucking Santa. And so even like the books that they have lined up, and she's like, let me tell you a story. She pulls out the Christmas Chronicles. Like each one of these movies is now like one of those books that she has in her thing. So it's like, these can go on forever. It's amazing. Yeah.
I didn't, the little black kid wasn't my favorite.
Why not?
He
I
was
really
so
liked his
cheesy.
art. Well, I mean, there's a lot of money in this movie, and they had a vision, and I guarantee they had a choice from like a lot of people. And so however they wrote it, I feel like that kid, he acted exactly how they wanted him to act. Like this, we need a dweeby little kind of, and I mean it's like a caricature of a person really, but they have to like turn it up in the beginning in a very short period of time to make his arc make sense of becoming a brave person. I mean, he's like, how it's in that short period of time when they're still in Mexico, do you show that this kid's like allergic to everything and dweeby unless you like force it into the story and like make him say, well, I'm afraid of this and I have all these, like, that's the beginning of all these movies. It's like anytime they introduce a new character, it's like they actively tell you their entire character instead of them just acting and you learn their character. Some of the first lines, and all Netflix movies and shows do that, because we're in a world now where people put something on for 5 seconds, and if they don't know what's going on immediately, they're like, next. So like if you watch just any Netflix original show, the first couple of seconds, each character verbally tells you who they are. They go, like, somebody will ask them a question, will be like, well, you know, my dad died and I don't like snakes, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And
Was
like,
that is that who I am?
I just no.
Interesting.
No, not at all. But you know, and it's once you know that that's what's going on, you can't not see it, and it's kind of stinks because like then it's like lifting the curtain and seeing behind. It's like now I can't.
I mean, yeah, all
it.
and I think all the kids are pretty cheesy and stuff like that. I just, you know, that was my only qualm.
Yeah.
Was I didn't really like him in that part.
It's because you're raised this. We get it. Maybe if he was Asian, it would have been better.
No, if it was a good one.
A white kid. I thought it was great, and I loved that the Christmas con. Let's look at the cast real quick, okay?
And now, another word from our sponsors.
I'm Nurse Ratchet, and my favorite is Bologna. My other favorite is staying healthy. In these trying and uncertain times, we must remember to protect one another and wear our masks. We know this can be hard, as the masks make it difficult to breathe. And that's why Popco has done what they can to ease the suffering of wearing a mask with the sweet and delicious scent of bologna. The latest in extruded meat scent technology, your bologna mask is guaranteed to smell just like your favorite food. Protect yourself and others, and be comforted by the wholesome scent of bologna with the bologna mask from Popco.
What would you rate it, by the way?
Must watch.
Must watch. All right, so
I'm not wrong about that? Are you sure? Do you
no,
wanna,
yeah. I
do you want to
agree.
tell me what you think that...
I would say as far as a Christmas movie, if now's the season and you're putting on Christmas movies while you're waiting until the Christmas Story marathon on Christmas Day.
Or the Christmas Vacation.
Look, Kristie, there's a reason why...
Everybody loves Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, then why isn't it on 24 hours a day?
It probably is.
It's not.
Yeah, it's on all the time.
You understand that TBS literally puts on A Christmas Story over and over again for 24 hours. That's because it's the best.
It's a really great classic. Yeah, it is. It's one of the best.
It is the best.
It's one of the best.
Period. So what?
Christmas Vacation's up there.
Okay, so what's the second movie they play for 24 hours a day? You know we're recording, right? Mm-hmm. So why are you texting?
I'm Googling.
Oh.
I'm fucking Googling.
Oh. Wow. Kristie's Googling, everybody. Let's just fucking wait, I guess. Anyway, and Mr. Tyrese Gibson.
Oh my god, I forgot to bring that up. Fucking Tyrese.
Fucking Tyrese Gibson.
I hate when they put him...
If he's not an ex-convict fucking drag racing Subarus, He's out here banging widowed white women.
I know his characters. I also hate when they put someone in there like that. I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Tyrese who, like 13-year-old me used to like lick posters of him in my sister's room. Tyrese is just, oh my God. Christ. I could still sing so many Tyrese songs.
Oh, he's a musician?
Are you serious?
Clearly.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I was just going to say. I'm like, when I first saw him introduced, I'm like, okay, where in the movie is he going to do his singing part?
The very, very,
they
very
always
end.
put, when they put anybody that's an artist, a musical artist in a movie, it's like, when's your fucking
when
solo?
Are you gonna sing?
Go
But the
ahead.
thing is, the only way, well, he didn't sing in any of the
In
Fast
Baby
and Furious.
Boy?
He didn't sing in any of the Fast
Did
and
you
Furious
see
movies.
Baby Boy?
No, he didn't. All those movies he was in, I never saw him
So you
sing.
only know Fast and the Furious.
That's all I know him from.
So all those movies is Fast and the Furious.
That's it. That's all I know him from. I've never seen him in another movie. I've only seen him in Fast and Furious movies.
Oh my God. Just so you know, Christmas Vacation is played every single day in the month of December and sometimes multiple times a day. So, you know.
Yeah, what? On multiple different stations. I'm talking about, but what station is like, yo, fuck everything else. Put this on for 24 hours and let's just...
Yeah, no, it's a great movie, and Christmas Vacation's also really great.
Yeah, but it goes 1, 2. Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation. That's it. How about you guys write in? roadsodamail@gmail.com and let me know who's right, please. Also, you can call in 706-200-1213 and also let me know who's right.
Maybe we should take a break, hear from our sponsors, and come back to the latest show, Isaiah's Right.
Wow. I think you're right for once.
Oh my God, I hate you.
I think you're right for one time. Anyway, so of course I would say, yeah, definitely watch it. This is the time of year when you've watched what all the other movies, or they're not all the other movies. Just put it in your queue.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a really fun movie. Next week, though, I'm a little excited about this because obviously next week is not Christmas anymore.
it'd be like New Year's. You know,
It's New Year's. We're going into the new year, so let's dig into something that's going to be real fun. Okay. Now, when I say that, I'm looking at Kristie's face, and I know in her eyes she's going, "Oh shit!" He either means that it's something I'm going to hate, or something I'm going to like. And I think it's something you're going to like. Next week, we are watching right now it is number 9 in the US of A. And it is The Ripper.
I don't know what that is.
In the late 1970s, British police struggled to identify, let alone capture, the serial killer known throughout the world as the Yorkshire Ripper. It's a docuseries.
Oh, cool.
See? Booyakasha!
Well, yeah.
It was either that, because obviously we can't do
Well,
another...
we used to like talk about what we were gonna choose, and I think
Didn't
the
have
last
time.
like 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, it's you just lay it on me.
Actually, it hasn't been the 5 or 6 weeks. I mean,
Maybe
there was
4?
just 3. Just this will be the 3rd, because I just chose the Jingle Jangle and I just chose the Christmas Chronicles, which are both movies you would have chose.
Before that.
What was the one before that? The Sakara Tomb.
No, there's one in there.
All right, let's go into the notes. We'll see. So 167 was Jingle Jangle, right? Mm-hmm. So what was before Jingle Jangle? Do you guys remember? Oh shit, where is it? Oh, it was I'm Thinking of Ending Things 2, which we chose that together. We did it one back to back, and the one before that also chose that one. Ready? So where's this? Yeah. I'm going to start doing this with my whole life, so every time we get into one of these situations, let's look at the notes.
Let's look at the notes.
Let's go back to the notes, honey. Any hoots. So yeah, next week I chose something again because I know what you're into, and when we're sitting here and I'm like, hey, let's choose next week's, and you're already busy doing something on your phone, I can maximize our time because I know what you like and I know what you're into. And the only other thing I was going to choose was, what was it? I had it up just now. It's the We Are the Champions, which I kind of want to watch.
What's that?
We Are the Champions explore an array of unique competitions from the quirky to the bizarre and meet their passionate communities in this docuseries. So each episode is like some kind of different weird competition.
I would totally watch that.
Yeah, so the first one is cheese rolling. Right?
Sign me up.
And then it interviews all the people
I don't
who
know
are
what
like,
it is, but
I
sign me
live
up.
for fucking cheese rolling, okay?
Dude, yes.
I've trained all year. Chili eating is the second one.
I really like this.
Do you want to do that one instead of the murder one?
I want to do them both, so it doesn't matter.
Well, you got to make a decision now which one you want to do first.
Have you ever asked me to make a decision before?
See? And you're wanting me to discuss with you. You can't win. You've been really focusing on the Megan's bitch thing with her.
No, you're just being a bitch.
No, that's you're like, you need to put me in on, and when are you gonna ask me? Have you ever asked me for make a decision before? Ha 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 ha. It's like, you can't win. There's nothing you can do.
That's not what I said in the beginning.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, thanks for consulting me. And then I'm like, so which one do you want to do? And you're like, I can't make a decision, you stupid. What are you, dumb? Anyway, so yeah, let's stick with the murder and watch The Ripper next week. Please and thank you. Write in, let us know what you think about the Millennial Book Club. What did you think about the Christmas Chronicles? And what do you think about The Ripper? Go ahead and watch it and write in so we can talk about it on the show. Write into roadsodamail@gmail.com or call and leave a message on the machine. It goes right to voicemail. You just leave a message and then we play it on the show. 706-200-1213. And that's that. Watch The Ripper. Hi, my name is Isaiah Cooper, and like many unfortunate people, I suffer from asshole sweat. And that's why I could not be happier to present our newest sponsor, Thompson's Tushy Rolls. My days of sprinting through the office to the bathroom before someone sees my sweat spot are over. With Thompson's Tushy Rolls, I am a more confident me. I no longer fear being in public, even in the worst of times, knowing that I've got a Thompson's with me. The Thompson's design fits snugly in place in anyone's ass, wicking moisture and holding it, so that you don't have an embarrassing bleed through. Nothing is worse than someone pointing out that your butt is wet. So do yourself a favor and buy Thompson's Tushy Rolls. Thompson's Tushy Rolls. We have your crack. Okay, with us is a very special guest. It's my first time meeting you as well, which is really, really awesome. Especially because of how this whole thing, or how I heard about your book and about you. But I'm sure at some point earlier in the show, I'll explain that before the interview. But Mr. Chaz Pilkley,
Pilkey. No worries. No worries. You and every substitute teacher ever. No worries.
They're the worst.
It happens.
So, look, okay, I gotta say, it was pretty crazy. So you're a fan of Mysterious Universe. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of Mysterious Universe. And I think anybody who is a fan, if they listen to Road Soda, they would definitely be able to pick out this, some similarities, especially in a structure kind of thing. Because it's an awesome show, and I listen to it all the time. I'm listening to it, and they're reviewing this book, and it is Paranormal Expeditions, right? Mm-hmm. Hunt for the Friendship, and then there's UFO stories about UFOs and
a story of UFOs, Nazis, psychedelics, and an expedition to the edge of the world.
Sweet. And I feel like that's really rude of me to butcher the.
No worries. It's a long title.
So
subtitle.
I got so many questions. So yeah, they were on. I was listening to it, and at one point they mentioned, they were like, yeah, and the author of the book, felt there was a synchronicity because he knew someone in Sarasota who had an encounter with the friendship, And then I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then they're like, because also the author's from Sarasota. I was like, no effing way. So before we, I guess, like get into the book and everything, you were born here in Sarasota?
I was actually born in Maryland, and I moved down here before I turned 2.
Okay.
So technically I wasn't born here, but I've grown up here. All my memories of life, early life, are from here. So I like to think I'm a Floridian.
I think you are. I think I'm kind of similar. Like I moved here relatively young, and it's like I think we pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, my mom's from here too, so I inherited some.
You passed. Did you? Where'd you graduate from? Like which high school?
Sarasota High School. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was on the football team, wrestling team. Yeah.
And the wrestling team too?
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. Wait. So how? At what point in your life were you like, I'm into paranormal stuff? Like what?
That was actually pretty early on. Fairly young, I had an odd encounter.
Okay.
We had just installed bunk beds in our childhood room, and we just built like a bed on top of the bed that was there. So my older brother went from that bottom bed to the top bed because he's the oldest, and I got that bottom bunk. And I'm sleeping there. It must have been about a week into this change. And one night I fell out of bed. And looking back at me from underneath the bed is like a pair of red eyes.
Really?
Like almost like a Halloween graphic. Like just like a kind of a cartoonish glowing red eyes. And you know, being 8 or 9 or however old I was, I hopped back in bed, put the blanket over my head. Because I do
that now.
Right? That's safety.
Right.
And I waited till morning. And in the morning, being, you know, a kid, but still pretty skeptical, I started cleaning out underneath the bed.
Right.
Looking for any kind of like toy or something that could have made a light.
Right.
Anything to explain what I saw. And my brother, who was walking down the steps from the top bunk, looks at what I'm doing and says to me, without me prompting, without me saying anything, did you see the red eyes too? Because he had that experience while sleeping in that bed.
Ooh, I just got chills.
Yeah, it was bizarre. And kind of since that moment, I was like fascinated. And it, strangely enough, had the opposite effect on my older brother.
Right.
He became pretty, you know, scientific. He's a scientist now. He's a chemist.
Okay. Is he older?
Older.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you know, after that, he kind of became like an atheist for a while. He's lightened up on all those you know beliefs now, but
Right.
It had opposite initial reactions. But ever since then, I've been interested in anything that you know goes bump in the night because
Right.
it's real. You know,
Right.
that was a moment where I was like, huh. That's not just in movies. Like, that
Yeah.
actually happens.
Like I saw something and it was validated. Like those two things together, could easily, yeah.
And, you know, even the skeptical explanation that it was just, you know, a shared hallucination. That in itself is something paranormal because that
Right.
doesn't happen every day.
Exactly.
You know, that's not something that's normal and we don't understand how it happened. So I just, you know, left me with so many questions and I'm still looking for answers today.
I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of answers to be. I don't know if we'll ever get these answers, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. I'm looking.
But it's did anyone else on any other podcast ask you that?
Yeah, I think I've told that story a couple times.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What's your favorite kind of dog? Did they ask you that?
No, that's the first time I've been asked that. I like mutts. I'm a big fan of mutts.
Good man. Mm-hmm. Good man.
Rescue your dogs.
Yeah.
What's that? Adopt, don't shop.
That's right. So, and then at what point was writing a book like something you were, because you're relatively young to write a book, you know?
Well, the book actually kind of came as an afterthought. I first released kind of the first, you know, form of this research in a podcast, and it was a short kind of like one-off 5 episodes, little documentary series into this case. And it got some moderate success. People listened to it. But unless you're doing something more continuous, the podcast stuff doesn't really. Yeah, you got to be every week. It's
like a whisper in the wind, man.
Right? Yeah, it had a blip, and people, a few thousand people liked it, and then.
Right.
So I was kind of left with all these, scripts and research and a lot of stuff that didn't make it into the show, and I had to condense my own research and investigation, and I thought, well, why not just type it out? I looked at what I had and I was like, that's almost a book anyways.
Wow. So you went like hard in the paint with the podcast. Like you did a bunch of research.
Well, I thought I did. I started getting into it and really ended up doubling what I had by the time, what I had at the podcast. The book became at least double of what that was. So I thought it was a lot until I really started writing a book. Right. And I learned a lot.
So what kept motivating you to write a book? Like you just...
it was probably, listening to shows like Mysterious Universe and hearing research like that. And, I love reading books like the one I wrote. I like anything paranormal related to consciousness. Those kinds of topics, and I thought, I can contribute a little bit back, especially when it came to this case, because it hadn't really made it into the English-speaking world.
Right.
Mysterious Universe did a couple articles on their site and talked about it a couple times, but that was it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone else really cover the case before that or since then. And when I heard about it, it was one that really, really stuck with me. I thought it represented a lot of the angles that this kind of phenomenon entails. So I thought it was something worthwhile and worth the dedication and time.
Yeah, because it really isn't a one-dimensional thing, with and it's not just seeing something in the sky, or it's not just having something come into your bedroom. Like there's a bunch of stuff going on, and wasn't there a very similar case in Italy as well? Or was it just in... I always thought there was a friendship case in Italy as well as in South America.
Yeah, there was... so that friendship group wasn't entirely... They shared the name. Right. And this one was more of kind of like, if I'm remembering correctly, a little post-Renaissance, but like a breakaway kind of civilization thing.
Right.
And there's an idea that it might actually carry on. It might be the same group, but it doesn't quite match up because the Italian group, they seem to be, people, other Italians and things.
Right.
Where the friendship group, they have the more similarities to, Palladians. Okay. These tall, blonde aliens people claim to talk about. That, people in the U.S. in the 50s and the 60s, these contactees, were talking to these type of aliens that look human, but they say we're from Venus, or we're from Mars, or from Pleiades, or wherever. And that's more reminiscent of this group, because they're definitely claiming to be extraterrestrials, but and while they look human overall, there's some strangeness about them. Right. They're all tall, blonde, light colored eyes, the same description that these aliens are typically given. They all wear these, jumpsuits and weird things. One of the stranger details I find is they're all roughly the same age. They're all middle-aged. So, when it comes to the idea it's a human group, you'd expect to see younger people, older people, Right. It's weird to have them all in the same age group. And of course, there's
never an old Pleiadian.
Right? Yeah, it seems weird. Maybe their health is way better, or maybe they just kill the ugly ones.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, it's questionable.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but if that's what's working for these guys, that's just because the Road Soda listeners, I would say, in general, might be a little more paranormally inept than like some of the other podcasts you've been on. Can you give just a brief synopsis of what the friendship case is?
Yeah, of course. So the friendship were this group based out of southern Chile in Patagonia. And they fit the description I just gave, the tall, blonde. And they radiate hot. Yeah, sexy for the most part.
Sexy aliens. None of that great shit.
No, it is. All the reports are like, even the dudes are like, oof, that guy's hot. Like they're that hot. And they radiate this strange energy. And they seem to be in contact with technology that's more advanced than ours. And this case was really started in the 1980s through several contacts of people living around the area in Patagonia. One person in particular, Ernesto de la Fuente, he got cured of like a lung cancer.
Right.
And that's actually debated whether it was lung cancer or a lesser ailment. But it does look like he was cured of something.
Right, because there was like medical documents showing that he had it, whatever it was, and then...
Yeah, he had like a cyst or something. It could have been a tumor. No one really is able to confirm what exactly it was. But he presented evidence to show that he was healed by this group. His story went on to claim some wild stuff, with hauntings and psychic dolphins. And he's a character that pops up a lot in this case, and a lot of times under dubious circumstances.
Dubious.
But luckily, there's a lot of other witnesses to the case as well. A lot of other people have had these interactions, one-off bizarre encounters with these people.
I've never been to Chile, but I don't think they're tall and blonde and
they're not
fair skinned. I don't think so. It is, that'd be pretty memorable if you're some like farmer or dude slinging merchant stuff at the merchant place.
Yeah,
and you see some guy come up who's like got a skin tight silver suit and sweet long
flowing blonde hair.
You remember it, right?
Yeah. It's definitely an odd thing. An out of place kind of encounter. They also seem to be masters of several languages and different sciences. Just overall, super.
Just overall better than us.
Yeah, it's kind of what the stories usually lend to. It's just a better version of humans, essentially. But they claim that they're here to help, and they're doing these kinds of things. But when you look into the stories and the research, they're pretty neutral. It seems they're willing to help and hurt equally.
Yeah.
They kind of just, pick and choose whichever suits them. It kind of appears to be a front a lot of the times. This peace and love and light. So their true purpose is, unknown. And of course, there's the other explanation that comes up a lot in this case, is that it's secretly a Nazi group.
Right.
That, this is a Nazi submarine base, and these are Nazi scientists, SS officers, which is why they're all tall and blonde and have light-colored eyes, which is an interesting theory. There's a lot to fit with it, and then again, there's a lot that doesn't fit with it. But that's, a lot of the times the case when it comes to the paranormal, right? You can come up with human explanations for almost every case.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, a lot of times, though, the human explanations are as crazy as, some of the other theories.
Right. They're almost, some of those explanations are, like, just as unlikely, like you said, and just as out there. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying with your story, the shared hallucination. It's just as crazy as a lot of this.
Yeah, as it being some kind of little gremlin or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Equally fascinating possibilities.
Now I'm thinking about it. Isn't a shared, like, if it's a shared hallucination, doesn't that just make it real?
The question that really comes down to the number of people.
Right.
And that's really the case in a lot of these UFO situations. A lot of the most famous cases are like when they land at a schoolhouse.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
like 150 people who see it.
Right.
Because we value, the more. If one person sees a UFO, okay,
Yeah, get out of here.
whatever, you're crazy. But when multiple people see it, or in the case of the Navy UFO videos they released, that's an entire battle cruiser that witnessed that and tracked that and filmed it. So those are the cases that we like and try to bend the minds of skeptics. But then you also have the more individual cases that are intriguing. In like the case of cattle mutilations.
Yes.
Or alien implants. People have things taken out of them, little strange metal objects. That there's some physical evidence that happens with the phenomenon. And that's, what we're looking for.
Yeah, because that's the kind of stuff that's going to get more people, looking at it. The stories are as good as they are and as numerous as they are. They're intangible, and that's not what. Yeah, that's not what people need to. As they say, they need the mothership to land on the White House lawn. And did you see the thing that came out just a couple days ago with the Israeli space?
Yes, yeah, I was reading about that today.
Yeah.
That they may already be among us, and this actually is a perfect example of. Where both truths are kind of crazy. Right. So there's the truth is what he's saying is flat out true. Yeah. Right. Well, bam. He's admitting the governments have been interacting with alien intelligence for a long time. Yeah. And this sits at the back of my mind when it comes to those Navy videos and all that. Or is this all just like a counterintelligence operation? We want China to spend however much time and money spinning their wheels in UFO research, and Iran and all of them to waste their time and efforts looking into UFOs, which would be a pretty crazy conspiracy in the scope of it if you consider it.
Just the sheer idea of that making sense or working is crazy.
Well, it's the kind of idea of the War of the Worlds, and everyone got panicked when they heard the radio broadcast. There's a lady who wrote a book. I can't remember her name, but she wrote a theory that
Mary Shelley.
That was along the lines. She wrote a book that Roswell was actually Stalin trying to create a War of the Worlds type panic, and that he filled the ship with a bunch of little Frankensteins. No, with a bunch of little melon head kids and dwarf orphans, and he crashed this UFO shaped plane into the U.S. to try to cause a panic. And that's her theory, which is crazy, but also I suppose it's possible. Right. It's as possible as an actual UFO crashing. There are weird Cold War tactics. Yeah. There are melon head orphans that you could cram into.
Put them all in the same spot.
It's not impossible. It's not necessarily even more impossible or more likely than a traditional explanation, which is really interesting.
I almost think it's more interesting.
Yeah,
that's lunacy.
The lengths that we'll go to.
Right. Stalin's I got a great idea.
Yeah, so, but if that story is true, then it's not impossible to imagine that the U.S. is doing something similar now with maybe holograms or whatever. Yeah. Or maybe a lot of these cases are something like that. And again, that sounds crazy, but in the scope of statistics and that kind of things, holograms exist, statistically proven.
Yeah, exactly.
The actual aliens being here has yet to be statistically, empirically proven. So it's something to consider.
It is heavily, I think, and it's but I mean, if it is a counterintelligence, what is the counterintelligence for? Just to make them waste their money, make other countries waste their money on funny.
Yeah,
But then
UFO research.
But then you're also wasting money on a program to make fake stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure
it doesn't make any sense.
There's an accountant there.
Right.
Well, with our military budget, they got to just waste dollars so they can get
the theater fee.
Right?
Here's the fake movie set fee.
Yeah, at the end of every quarter or financial quarter, at the military bases, they have target practices because they got to get rid of the ammunition. They can get rid of the fresh ammunition.
Exactly.
Maybe they're just getting rid of budget money.
Just getting rid of budget money. We were going to get a Margaritaville margarita machine, but instead we're going to make it seem like aliens exist with this fucking video.
They had a couple extra $1 trillion lying around. Might as well.
I like to, I mean, you heard on the MU not too long ago when they did that, Benjamin read that book, Hunt for the Zero Point, which was fascinating. That was like, I mean, in the past year, I think about that often, was that guy that did all the research on Nikola Tesla's inventions, and like some of these people that have these weird patents and weird ideas, and people witnessing these machines like functioning and working. I mean, if there's any truth to any of that, I mean, there's reason to believe that maybe those a lot of sightings are things that we're piloting.
Right. Well, that we have. I actually tend to not think that. I actually think I love the hunt for 0 point, and I think the idea about this kind of energy is kind of pretty close to spot on. I think that, and this is posited by Einstein and people way smarter than me, that our current understanding is nothing could travel faster than light. And the belief is the closer you do travel to the speed of light, the shorter objects become and the quicker time moves, right? That's the analogy we see in Star Trek.
Right.
They fold the paper.
He's gone
punch
black.
It through. Right.
Sorry.
They warp
That's
speed.
Spaceballs.
Exactly. Ludicrous speed.
Right,
all that. That's that idea. But what's ignored in that idea is that Einstein stated those are altered for the observer.
Right.
Right. And so if these crafts are using 0 point energy, essentially existing in their own gravitational field, capable of these light speed maneuvers, then their existence would also have independent space and time. And my research posits what would that look like to human beings? What does something that's existing in an independent space and time? And my research posits that looks like a psychedelic drug trip. Right. And that comes from some personal experiences. But the things you often hear about UFOs, the missing time, where someone walks off for 15 minutes, but they come back with 5 days worth of beard growth. Right. And their watch is 5 days forward. Right. Which is a case in the book. Or the opposite happens where they're gone for days. This is the case of Travis Walton, Fire in the Sky, if you've ever seen the movie. He was gone for almost a week, but he only came back with a couple hours worth of memories. I've had, similar experiences when you take a bunch of drugs. Yeah. If you're on some psychedelics. I've had the Travis Walton one where I thought I was doing something for 10 minutes and I look up and it's been 3 hours. Yeah. But I know plenty of people who've had the reverse where they, went away for years, it felt like, before they came back to their body. And of course, it's only been an hour or so in our world. Right. So I think these crafts are working on as kind of 0 point energy, and that's the reason there's so much high strangeness, and these reports always sound so weird and bizarre when people are aboard the craft. Is for most people, it's their first time having a psychedelic experience, first off. Right. And their mind's just trying to comprehend what's going on, right? And that's why you see a lot of shape-shifting entities and stuff. Is because when you're tripping, you can see a whole person's face rearranged.
Right.
It's all things that experienced drug users would be a little more familiar with. And I found a good amount of cases and some of my own research that's led me to believe you can potentially view these crafts and these other worlds by, focused meditation and a use of a little bit of psychedelics, which I tried several times in my book with mixed results.
Right. It's like it'll put you in the right mind space, but then you also might not find yourself in the right physical space. Like,
right.
Like you might have wandered off or something.
And now, another word from our sponsors.
Ghost Toast, we sell haunted shit. My grandfather had a dream when he started Ghost Host to finally have a place where people can get good quality things with ghosts in them. And today we continue that dream. Our patented objects possession ritual combines anything you want with your favorite ghosts. Toilet seats possessed with Grand Wizards. Remote controls possessed with Stevie Wonder. And coming soon, John Goodman. Neil Peart and a bass guitar. Why not? Too soon? I don't want to get anyone excited, but we may or may not be getting a certain basketball player in a scooter. Huh? Ghost Host. Come on down to Ghost Host today. We'll stuff a ghost in it. And you know you're in the right place when you hear a front door that sounds like Casey Kasem. Because it is. The front door is now Casey Kasem. That's not for sale. This is a booming ghost economy, kids.
I don't know. How did you come to, was it the paranormal experience first, or was it the psychedelics first that made you think that the two would go together?
So I actually did some experiments that kind of really linked it together. And I had I had heard the idea that all the phenomenon is connected. Ghosts and Bigfoot and UFOs. It's all variants of the same phenomenon. And I had never really bought into that. I thought maybe we live in a highly random universe and all these things are just randomly happening and they all exist separately. And that was until I started conducting some of these psychedelic experiments. And I was doing mushroom teas and doing Ouija board sessions.
Right.
Which, a lot of people, anyone who watches Ghost Adventures knows that's like a big no-no.
Yeah, you don't touch the Ouija board.
They hate the Ouija board. It's all bad. And, you're under a substance. I'm definitely possessed. I'm definitely the devil now. Whatever.
Whoa. Nice to meet you.
But I did those and, I would do it all properly and I do meditation beforehand and I take my mushroom tea and these were pretty heavy doses.
Right.
And nothing really happened. Nothing notable, some weird, mushroom effects, but nothing I would call paranormal phenomenon. Until one of the other experiments, I was getting ready. This may be the second or third. And I'm sipping some of the tea. And I'm watching planes go across the sky when I see an object enter, a bright object. I think maybe it's a plane with the light hitting it weird, but it bursts into several smaller objects that scatter off. It almost kind of looked like a starship exploding in like Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
And I looked up to see if maybe it was a satellite re-entering or anything like that.
What color was the...
They were pretty much just bright yellow, some orange.
Okay.
I think it was at sunset, so I think it was mostly just reflecting, catching the light in different angles. But this was, I hadn't even finished drinking my mushroom tea yet. This was like 20 minutes maybe after. And any person who's used a lot of mushrooms knows it usually takes like an hour or so to kick in. The second weird experience was in between two of these experiences. In the middle of the week, I was hanging out with a friend, and I was telling him about that experience, the one I just told him. He was like, yeah, whatever, you're still on mushrooms, so maybe it was leftover mushrooms from the last time, or
right.
you activated it early, something like that.
Sounds stupid.
Well,
That friend sounds stupid.
he took a lot more psychedelics than me, so he might have been onto something. But we started hearing a low mechanical hum while we're having this conversation.
Oh, you never want to hear that.
And one of us, I can't remember who, jokingly says, "Oh, maybe that's the UFOs now." And sure enough, a triangle-shaped craft flew right over the house, a light on each corner of the triangle. One that's been seen a lot in the Gulf Coast of Florida, I later found out. Hovered right above the house. I mean, I could have hit it with a rock. It was so low to the ground.
Yeah, pretty low. Okay.
And it just hovered there for a second and continued on. And it seemed, super intentional since we were having that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was so visible. And again, not on the substances directly. And I've found a few other cases where it seems that having the traces of the substance in, or microdosing it might actually lead to more physical encounters where you're actually seeing something that's more physically here.
I could see that. What did your friend do?
He was just kind of like, well, shit. It was kind of like a checkmate. I was like, well, what's that?
What's up, bitch?
We were pretty stunned because that was, like I said, I went in looking for like ghost evidence and stuff like that, and then I was hit with, some UFOs. And given the fact of the psychedelic nature of those experiments, it kind of led me down the belief that there's probably they're more related than they're not. All of these.
It really seems so. I mean, if you listen to Mysterious Universe for an extended period of time, you get to. Not only do they obviously talk about it because this is all they do every day. They're reading these new books and whatnot, but I mean, just listening to it, you can hear the through lines of if they're talking about a Bigfoot story, and then they're talking about like a poltergeist story, and there's so many things that like
line up,
all cross over.
That happen in all of them.
That happen in all of them. Yeah. Like you were talking about, there's different time dilations or
the high strangeness, even simple things like knocking. That happens in ghost cases, poltergeist cases, and in Bigfoot cases. He likes to knock on trees, so they say. I'm a little skeptical of Bigfoot as a whole, but I like the idea. I just want to see a little more evidence.
I think if you got UFOs hovering around, you got Bigfoot stomping around somewhere.
Yeah, he's not far behind. There are a few cases where they're interlinked. Interestingly enough, there's a few guys trying to make a Monster of the Mayaca movie.
Really?
About some Bigfoot sightings out in
the Skunk
Mayaca
Ape?
State Park. Yeah.
Ooh, have you ever seen that picture of the Skunk Ape?
The famous one with the stripe on his back?
Yeah, he's like kind of turned around, like looking back. It's like he's walking through some palmettos.
Yeah.
I saw that when I was like, probably in 8th grade. It fucked me up.
I remember they ran a news article. It was probably the same one.
Right.
And I had it like up on my wall.
You had it up on your wall.
Yeah, I'm gonna find
I don't want any part of that. I don't want to hang out with that Bigfoot. I mean, like my sisters, one of my sisters is like super into like all of it, but I feel like she really delves in like to not to an extent, but just in a way that I don't think. Again, just from listening to so much of the show. It seems like you really got to be careful, like how you approach the subject and how you navigate it, just because it has this tendency to like drive people mad in a way. Yeah. Just from like this fascination. Again, I can't talk from any kind of personal experience outside of just listening to so much of this one podcast, right? Yeah. But yeah, she does the Ouija board a bunch and like the channeling and all that kind of stuff. And was always watching Unsolved Mysteries growing up, and I didn't want none of that. Yeah, I didn't want it. I mean, now I'm a fan. I like to listen, but I don't know if I could do what you're doing, and that's like actively go and like look for it. I've done a couple like graveyard ESP, like white noise kind of adventures.
The traditional.
It's like, hey, why not? Yeah, and we've got some really interesting stuff. It's fun, but then I mean I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. If you do it and then you want to tell me a story about it, I'm down. I'm down for that. That's dope. Like,
well, that's my whole brand, because I love doing the traditional ghost hunt kind of stuff. And I actually got one, oddly enough. I've moved past most of that, but I've got kind of one of those planned coming up, following some leads.
Right.
But the idea that going out for EVPs and stuff is fun, but for me it wasn't enough. So I was like, well, what if I take psychedelics and do this? And that's kind of where I've landed.
And I would agree. Like, I think the times that I was doing when I was doing like a little ghost hunt here and there never correlated or was even in the same time frame of when I was doing drugs. So I would never, but having done like psychedelics and all that kind of stuff at this point in my life, I can absolutely see the connection of why it would open it, because it opens up your mind in a different way. It makes you see more of what's there, that's always sitting there in front of you as it is. Like, what do you find? Is there a difference? So let's say you're going to this ghost hunt, right? And you're gonna walk around in the house and say, "Hey, anybody here?" Is there a difference between doing some mushrooms or doing some like LSD or maybe even something else like peyote?
Yeah.
You guys want some peyote?
So ideally, you would use something like peyote or something more traditional, something more shamanic, based on the location you're at.
Okay.
But of course, the restrictions that I'm going to call them restrictions placed on this kind of research kind of make it difficult a lot of times to get accurate dosing and the exact right materials and right strains of mushrooms and those kinds of things.
You got a DMT guy?
So at this point, at this point, it's kind of you take what you get, and you kind of build your experiments. I build my experiments around what's kind of available.
Okay.
But I also like to take long breaks in between those experiments, specifically because people tend to go crazy in this this industry. And I'm already a little crazy, so I try to keep it in check. As a whole, it was actually very good to hear on Mysterious Universe. They chewed me up a little bit, but not too bad, not nearly as bad as a lot of people.
I think the way
covered.
I mean, the way I heard them talking about you was that they had mucho respect because you were actually going to Chile and like exploring and like doing these things instead of what so many people do. They're I'm reading a bunch of articles and research and other things and maybe I make a couple phone calls, but like you're like, hey, one trip ticket to Chile, please. Which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you get a lot of the kind of fly by night investigation where people show up, and that's
you fucking all the tourists. Get out of here.
It's all the ghost hunting shows too. They always stay one night. They do a night lockdown. They film all their shit and they get out of there. And they got to make every bug and every creek and everything into a thing. To sell TV commercials.
Come on.
So that whole style of investigation. I mean, I hope more investigators read the book just so we can kind of move past that a little bit as a genre.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of investigators who are doing new kinds of experiments. Using different kinds of tech and different kinds of sensory deprivation and the Estes method and all these weird methods.
What's the Estes method?
I believe that's the one where you use the spirit box and you cover your eyes and your ears and you kind of cut off sensory. So, and then you have one other person ask questions and the person who's cut off reads out the words. So instead of just hearing randomness, right? And you just trying to, that sounds like this, sounds like that.
Okay.
One person just is blurting out the words that they can hear clearly, and the other person's asking them, and they can't hear. So
it's almost like you turn the person into
into
the antenna.
Exactly. It's more of a channeling type of situation than your traditional EVP spirit box.
You use me to channel.
And it's intriguing. It's more intriguing than spirit boxes.
I think it is intriguing, and I think it's more intriguing than just traditional channeling because you're taking the ego out of the situation. Like because if the person, there's no way of ever telling if somebody who's channeling is just making it up,
right?
Because the person's talking, and they're like, am I ever gonna find love? And they're like, is he incarcerated? That was a stupid Miss Cleo thing, but
call me now.
Call me now. Yeah, where's she at? Let's call up Miss Cleo. Man, do you think she's alive?
I bet she's still alive.
Wouldn't that be the? I can't believe you guys are doing this. I can't believe
you're entirely unprofessional.
I cannot believe.
Oof.
How
we're not gonna edit this?
No.
Oh God.
No, sir. But if I had $1 for every time Kristie's phone went off while we were shit, I'd actually make money with this podcast. That's what's up. But they, what was I saying? Yeah, wouldn't that be funny if somebody channeled Miss Cleo?
I think she's still alive. I think we got to give it a couple more years. But
I wonder if she would do.
That would be.
I wonder
pure
if she
irony.
would do an interview.
I wonder if it's one of those things like Houdini, where she's got like a code phrase, and it'll like lead to all the offshore bank accounts, but only after she's dead.
All that Miss Cleo money. Did you hear the episode that they did? It was for it was called A Deal with the Devil. It was about the like the crazy like psychic newsletters that like go to people's houses.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that phenomenon. I don't think I quite remember that episode.
It was this book that they did on the show where like it's just like a mail order kind of scheme. It's the equivalent to getting emails from Nigerian princes and stuff like that. And it's but they would like mail them to your house, like to people's house. So these companies would get these big sucker lists. Like if you're in the mall and there's like a Cadillac and they're like, win this Cadillac, and you write your name on it and you drop it in. Your name's on a sucker list now, and then there's these companies that would buy them, and then they would just send these pamphlets out to people, and it was like, if you want to know the winning lottery numbers chosen specifically for you, send a lock of your hair and $5. You would send it, but then it would just like they would rope you in and like
into more and more.
Yeah, and these researchers like actually were like went to like the place that they would be like, send your lock. It was a P.O. box. And so they went to this P.O. box. It was in like Sparks, Nevada, but like the P.O. box didn't actually exist. And it was just like, it kept going down. It was like it was really, really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was so interesting. I actually got that book. I don't know where it is now. It used to be over there, but it's with the numerous
that was one
books.
of the ones where they never told us the ending, right?
Oh, I got to the ending.
Ooh,
I got to the end. They sold me that book. That's a question I had. How much of the book, when Benjamin talks about your book, how much did he like leave out, or how much did he like ruin it for people?
No, he left a good amount in. He went over the friendship stuff, the kind of a lot of the stories I had about the friendship. He left a lot of the other UFO stories out. And there's a lot of good ones in there. There's, a section on cattle mutilations that occur in the area. There's, sections about abductions and bizarre encounters and religious investigations and stuff. So he left a good portion of the research there. And he left a lot of the theorizing. I get more into that mushroom experiment, those initial ones in the book. And he didn't really cover those too much. That was the part he kind of yada yada. Because for guys like
yada,
that,
yada yada over that part.
Yeah. Well, it's for guys like that who read a lot of Jacques Vallée and John Keel and that kind of stuff. That it's a little old hat. It's a little, it's a fresher take on it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, those guys weren't dropping acid and doing that kind of shit.
But it's definitely heavily inspired by the research. I definitely quote both of those guys a bunch, Vallée and Keel. So they left a lot more to dive in on. A lot of the stories that I found too that they didn't cover on.
That's good, because I mean, it's the first time I've ever spoken to somebody who's had a book on the show. I always wondered that, because like it seems like he's doing such a brilliant job at like narrating or retelling, or it's a book report. Honestly, it's like he's giving a damn book report, and and it always leaves me thinking. I'm like, are the authors hearing this and being like, "Thanks, dude." Now who's gonna buy this shit? Like you just gave the whole thing. So that's good to hear that he didn't like.
It was weird. He was probably, they must have been the first or second people to buy the book, because I have all the reports and the stats, and I released it on Halloween. And I sold a bunch of copies to like friends and family, but I saw the other copies going elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I already sold a couple. And then it gets on Mysterious Universe, and I go back and I'm like, oh shit! Well, that helped. So no, it definitely helps.
That's really fun. Dude,
get
that's
it
so
out there.
And how did you publish it? Is it self-published, like
Yep.
on Amazon or something?
Yep, it's self-published on Amazon.
That's so cool.
I looked at some indie publishers and stuff, but they all just wanted to cut.
Yeah. So if you already had the book written, and then you went and published it, and then that's so cool. And then now, I guess, because my knowledge of like publishing a book is pretty shallow. But I would assume at this point, so now if like you got a book that's doing okay in that genre, and there's like a publishing company that does that kind of stuff, there's a chance they could even pay you.
Yeah, I
up
hope.
Front.
If they're listening to this interview, hire me to write the next one.
So where, if you could just if there was some publishing company and they're like, here's this much money to go to this location to take these drugs to look for this, what would it be?
What location?
All those things. What location? What would you be looking for?
I've already kind of been doing some research into next ideas. The next case that I really want to go and spend time with. And there's a couple places I looked at. Again, I want to. Because I'm selfish. I want to do international cases. I
don't think there's anything selfish about
everyone does the same Stanley Hotel and the Clown Motel and all these. They're on all the TV shows and all the places. And I love doing those kinds of cases and those kinds of write-ups and stuff. But for something similar to the case I did on the Friendship, I'd like to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking at an area in Alaska where people go missing, but there's a TV show about it now.
Right.
Just came out.
What's the TV show called?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna plug them.
No,
I don't remember.
Plug a stupid
the
show.
Mystery Triangle of Alaska, something. Travel Channel.
The mystery asshole of travel asshole.
Exactly. But I was also looking at the idea of investigating the kind of concept of the Hollow Earth, and looking into these stories where people go into the Hollow Earth, or they get lost in caves and get follow strange mine shafts into ancient metal libraries and that kind of stuff, and just going to several different locations that have that kind of similar history, both in North America and South America. And doing some kind of crazy experiments at each one of those. Maybe burying myself for a while, really getting into the earth.
Sounds like you need a one-way Amtrak ticket to Mount Shasta.
That's one of the places on the list that I'm looking into doing.
It's the root chakra of the earth, man. There's this jackass at a crystal store where my mom lives up in she like kind of goes back and forth to Georgia and whatnot, and it's such a small Hobunk town, and it's got a crystal shop, and it's always just filled with like the same sort of like middle-aged kind of housewifey moms, and the guy that runs it is just this real string bean, like, doing yoga, man. Also, check out this. That one's not for sale. That's like 20. That would be, if I was to sell, it'd be like $20,000. I got it from and I'm just Like, this guy's the fucking worst.
Oh yeah.
Nothing against anybody that enjoys a good crystal. Okay, I don't know if anyone enjoys.
The whole New Age thing can be tough.
It can be tough. It can be tough. But
they can be tough critics too.
Yeah.
A lot of the people, you know, of course the friendships aliens. They're not Nazis. How dare you even suggest? You know.
It's like, how do you know? Like what do you?
People get way too invested, you know, on Twitter and that kind of stuff.
Oh, people are the worst. If there's anything we've learned thus far, as just a whole, that people are the worst. And so here's the connection that you said to Sarasota. Who? I don't know if you know. You don't have to like say who, but like.
So actually, I don't know. The connection was this. And it wasn't. I mean, I say guy. It could be a lady.
Could be
Who
a
knows?
lady.
I honestly have no idea. A person from Sarasota.
But probably not a lady.
Probably not. A person from Sarasota. They went down and they posted an ad in a bunch of local newspapers in Patagonia, southern Chile. And they posted the advertisements in English saying, I'm the engineer that you met in Sarasota, Florida last year, or however time it was. Okay. I was afraid of you then, but I understand now. Please contact me. Wow. And it was written in English in these Spanish papers and printed a bunch.
Wow.
And
when was that done?
This was done, it must have been 90... late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Interesting.
So, you know, a decade or so after the case, but still when it was, you know, still in the minds of a lot of people in South America. But at that point, not a famous case by any means in North America.
Right.
So the fact that this person even, you know, knew about the friendship case is pretty bizarre. Which, if I'm theorizing, perhaps they're a person of Chilean descent. Right. You know, someone who would have been more exposed to the story. But no idea. That's still a mystery.
Maybe it's just some guy down there on spring break and he met a hot bride. And
yeah, I hope he's, you know, he hears one of these shows or something and reaches out and is like, I'm the guy. Let me weave you a tale, son.
Dude, you never know. You never know when that kind of stuff like comes walking out of the woodwork. Because that, I mean... That is so... And how do they... I don't even know, man. How did you learn about that incident?
So I believe it was Micah Hanks was the researcher who first wrote about that.
Like the guy that went down there and wrote that?
No. He's just the guy who came across it. He wrote up just a couple articles, I believe for MysteriousUniverse.com, about the friendship, just a a two-off piece. And he said, I did find this weird, you know, I trolled through some old newspapers and found this weird advertisement in English looking for the friendship and posted it on his article. And I was able to go back, you know, into that paper that he found it from and confirm and everything and look at it. So quite bizarre. I actually wanted to do the same thing, but I had budget restrictions. I couldn't afford the newspaper. I was going to go down and be like, hey, friendship, I'm from Sarasota, Florida. Please invite me to your island.
Can we party at your island?
Something along those lines.
I've got plenty of mushrooms and all kinds of stuff.
But they did not reach out to me.
Those bastards. Those bastards. How much do you like the idea of like the breakaway civilization thing from like somebody that maybe...
I love it. I love the idea of it, especially when it comes to this case too. It's actually an angle I kind of wanted to write about, but it's just such a whole other thing to get into. It would be such a sidetrack. And the Nazi chapter gets sidetracked enough talking about 0 Point and the bell and all that kind of idea. But I like that idea. I like the idea that, you know, these flying machines that Da Vinci and all of them in the Renaissance were making worked. And instead of, you know, giving it to any one world government, they broke away and they flew all over the place and they, you know, traded and did all that. It explains some of the out-of-place objects in history. Like the samurai swords they found in Mexico and shit like that. And if you follow the history, it's the idea that they probably made, for whatever reason, made contacts with the Germans after World War One. Maybe they got shot down. Who knows? And they gave them some of their tech, and that's where Nazi Germany got their tech boom. You know, all the tanks and stuff that blew away
bastards.
everyone. And from there, the idea is that this is where the friendship fits in, that this breakaway society took what they had from the falling Third Reich and they moved it to South America and Chile.
Which, why couldn't they just do that from the beginning? If you don't want other races around, just go somewhere where there's no other races. Like an island.
It would be an
go to an island.
Place. And from there, they would have been shot down over Roswell, New Mexico, and started giving the U.S. government
and
tech.
Dropped out a bunch of...
There was a survivor, and we traded. And that story is a common one when it comes to Roswell, except it's a surviving alien. Right. And we traded it with more aliens, but maybe it was just a person who knew about the flying saucers.
Or some kind of weird mutilated baby with a big head.
Exactly. All three possibilities.
All three?
Could be
I like the way you're thinking. And I know my father lived in Carlsbad, New Mexico, just about an hour away from at the time that it happened. And his... he was familiar with the family, I guess, that like owned the farm in some way. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's about as close as it got. I used to, we lived there for a short period of time myself, also in Carlsbad, and went to Roswell. And we went to like the Roswell UFO Museum.
Yeah, the little one they have out there. How is it? I haven't been.
I mean, it's not like great. I hope at this point they've got a little more money socked into it, because it seemed like the museum's more of like a weird storefront.
Yeah, like a roadside attraction type deal.
Or like right next door is like a Dollar Tree, and then it's like this is it, and you go inside and it almost looks like it used to be a store,
like a strip mall kind of.
Yeah, and someone's like they put up like poster board cutouts from like their book report that they had to do.
Wow.
But it was definitely interesting. There was like a whole fair that they had, and I could also be remembering it much worse than it was, because I was...
So what does was it your dad who lived out there when it happened?
Yeah.
What does he think about the case?
The friendship case?
No, the Roswell case.
The Roswell case? To be honest, I've never...
Does he think that family's a bunch of liars?
Lying, cheating. No, he would say he believes that there definitely was aliens that crashed. I mean, he's also very into Ancient Aliens. It's his like favorite show.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Hire me, Ancient Aliens.
Please watch Ancient Aliens and what's that guy's name with the hair?
Tsoukalos.
Tsoukalos.
See, I know everything about it. Hire me, Ancient
Gregory
Aliens.
Tsoukalos. That guy he's actually cool as shit. You know, like he gets so much, shit with the memes, but then you watch it and you're like, this guy's just a super nerd when it comes to like UFOs and stuff. Like he's like loves it, so he's just passionate. Like he loves where all these other guys are just.
Well, and it's easy to tear those guys apart, and it's kind of the nature of the beast, because
of course,
they're making entertainment at the end of the day, and like the Ghost Adventures and all those shows. They I'm not gonna say fake, but I'm gonna
say,
but
a lot of shit that's not real.
They're pretty loose with their evidence, and that show does that too. But most of those researchers, even on Ancient Aliens, when you kind of look at their work more closely, they're a little more, on the ball than they appear.
Yeah, they're standalone works, like if they wrote a book or something.
Well, and they also they dupe professors into being on that show and shit too.
Dupe them.
Well,
gotcha.
Professors dupe's probably the wrong word. They're probably just getting paid, but
it's not what would be. It's not definitely not legalese, but
yeah.
I think at this point, the only way to get like a solid sort of show or just solid piece, whatever it is, whether it's a book or something, it's like to do it yourself. Because it's as soon as somebody is handing you money to do the thing, it's like, oh yeah, also because I gave you the money, here's how I want you to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so. How do you feel about like? Do you make like videos and stuff for YouTube?
No, I haven't quite bought into the YouTube paranormal world. It's very much more towards that Ghost Adventures kind of stuff. UFO hunting isn't quite as visual. Right. It's not really. You could show hours of the night sky, but no one's really going to watch it. So it still is very much in that realm of using the ghost devices and stuff that are
right. That makes sense. I didn't think about that. It's not like you have a little ghost box that picks up UFOs.
So I've done some YouTube videos and interviews, and I've had some of my writings turned into videos on different topics. But so far I haven't quite gotten on YouTube. I think I own the Chaz of the Dead YouTube handle just in case.
Just in case, because you never know.
But so far I'm not doing anything like that. I've been looking around at maybe doing kind of a video show on Twitch with different paranormal people and stuff. But all just side projects for now.
Yeah, I mean you put your feelers out. You see what's comfortable. You see what's cool. Is there another book?
Not coming anytime soon. I mean, it took, I guess, from end to finish, it took probably close to 3 years to get that one out. From start of research to actually finishing editing and getting it out. So another couple years. Hopefully, I'll have another project that's at that level and that's ready to go. But I want it to be like this one. I want it to be as good as this one, where I can go and do the field research. Even maybe with a better budget or something along those lines, and really, really investigate.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually digging deep. I have a quick question for you. This might help. Do you have to piss?
No, I'm good.
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure, because I'll tell you, that has got to be the worst feeling in the fucking world, having to piss. And you're just trying to hold it together, just trying not to ruin everything. Man,
And now, another word from our sponsors. This episode of Road Soda is brought to you by Just Enough Yoga.
Welcome to Just Enough Yoga, where we teach you practical yoga for today's modern world. At Just Enough Yoga, learn everything you need for your Instagram stories and Facebook profile photos. Go into nature with confidence, knowing you can do the perfect scorpion pose in front of that mountain and even on a paddleboard. Don't waste your time with poses that aren't going to help you obtain what you want. Purchase the class upgrade and enjoy a more intimate class session of only 3 to 5 students held at the local park. We have a professional photographer attend these classes, and he's more than happy to use your personal device. Just Enough Yoga.
A Popco brand.
Feel honored. Not honored.
All right, we'll take it back then.
Okay, let me take it back. I love when something like, the synchronicity, like obviously you've got the synchronicity with the Sarasota guy, and of course you're like, hey, I'm a Sarasota guy and I'm writing this book, and it's just, I love when things come together. Like,
yeah,
even
this is actually me following up on a lead, because this is a continuation of the Sarasota.
Right. What if I was like, thank you for being here. I'm an engineer.
God damn it. You got me.
I wanted to get you right here on the air.
Well, we have to sit down for another hour.
Right.
I have so many questions.
They are as hot as you think. I gotta let you know.
That was question number 1.
I know. Do you have a want to like meet an alien? Like, do you have like a desire? Like, I want to meet. Like, I want to say, hey, what's up?
Absolutely. Alien, Bigfoot, any of it. Because as much as I love writing the research and doing the experiments, and as much as I've experienced, which is much more than the common person,
Yeah.
I still sit on that edge of skepticism where I'm
Yeah.
still not sure. Like, maybe I am just tripping. Maybe there
Right.
is no physical. Maybe it never crosses into the physical.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's not the case, but I can never, it's like, is God real? You can never really get it out of your mind,
Right.
Even the people who really, really believe in them, late at night, they gotta question every once in a while, right?
I don't know.
So,
Not me, bro.
Yeah.
Not me.
abduct me, aliens, if you're listening, abduct me.
Abduct me.
I know I've asked this 100 times. I'm still waiting. I'm here.
Now-
I'm easy to get.
Have you ever asked on shrooms?
Yep. I did at the end of my book. I climbed to like a peak while on some LSD and was like, "Come on, this is the perfect chance."
Do you think because you want it
not
so
yet.
bad, they're like, nah?
So maybe.
Right.
A lot of people, I think MU says this often, if you like look into the phenomenon, it looks back into you. I'm still waiting.
Right.
I'm still waiting for it to really look back into me. I've had these odd cases, and every once in a while I have a weird dream, but nothing I would say, nothing intimidating, nothing, and in the same aspect, no smoking gun, no like evidence I could say like, boom, I
Right.
did it. It's real.
And I think it's probably you don't have. It's like you're giving it enough attention without it showing its face. Mm-hmm. You gotta cool guy that phenomenon. Like get text and ignore.
I want it too bad.
Ignore the text for a little while, and then she'll start texting.
Yeah, well, I'm not work. Well, I did have to pick up a little bit of a ghost case recently because some weird synchronicities
Well, you've got to.
for a later time. But for the most part, I'm just selling books. So this is
Right.
plenty of time, paranormal, to look back at me. I'm blowing you up, especially the friendship. So if you're out there,
You're out there.
and
The time
you love it or you hate it,
Right.
come do something about it.
And
I'm here.
you're here, man, and you fucking pick us up. I want to see. I just want to see. I just need proof that the Earth isn't flat. If you guys could take me, they're like, okay, no, you're not coming with us. We have a strict no flat earthers
No
policy.
flat earthers.
It's like, but if I could just get up there, I would see. Thank you.
The Earth can't be flat; it's hollow.
Right. But how hollow?
It's like an eggshell.
Like
It's all
complete
empty in there.
hollow. Because I can't. Because I know there's like extreme like hollow Earth. Obviously, the guy back in the 1800s that initially came up with the idea of the hollow Earth, and then they searched for the holes on the poles.
Yeah, one of them
And-
said he flew into there and everything.
Yeah, but again, it's that one guy thing. It wasn't a plane full of people. You know what I mean? It's gotta. But I can get behind ginormous cavities, like not the whole thing being whole, but like if you get down deep enough in Mount Shasta, maybe it is like open in there. Maybe there are things in there, or
Well, yeah, there's definitely parts of it are hollow. That's for sure.
And I think, and I also really think, if you've got, if you're, using your tech is bending space time, there's no reason why you couldn't like mold yourself some kind of base out of rock, like fucking mold the shit to the side. And
I tend to think of it more, the whole idea of the hollow earth and these hollow portions,
Right.
similar to haunted houses. That something about this location, whether it's just creepy or inside a cave is even better because it's not a place for humans. It's definitely out of your natural element. We're tree and ocean, mammals. We lived on the coast, not in the caves. So something about putting your mind, the monkey brain into that situation, I think helps facilitate these psychedelic experiences where you view different worlds, where
Right.
you see there's a giant city of gold inside the earth. The same way a person on a UFO sees another planet made of platinum or whatever. Right. They're having these semi-psychedelic experiences while they're there. And I think the hollow earth is that kind of idea. I think these people experience something. I think it was probably more on the long lines of a drug trip than a actual experience. But if you can come back with some tablets of gold from the hollow earth, well then sign me up. Right. I'm ready. So maybe that is the next.
I dropped him on my way up. I'm sorry. It's always that's the thing with all of it. It's always right there, and then something happened. Something happened. But it does feel like, at least with the whatever crazy technology is flying in the sky, if it is technology, could be anything. It does feel like right now is like the closest point the closest point that we've been to maybe getting some kind of answers. It does feel like that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a step. I think there's a lot of people who are more in like the nuts and bolts who think it's aliens from different planets. They're really excited. I think researchers who are kind of more on the Jacques Vallée level, kind of where I'm at, I think there's an understanding there that there's a fundamental gap in our knowledge. Yeah. And oddly enough, I think it's the same gap that occurs in artificial intelligence research. Yeah. The idea that we'll keep crossing wires until eventually we have a thinking human brain, I think misrepresents and misunderstands the idea of consciousness. That I think our consciousness is something more, something non-local, which, all the ESP experiments and stuff suggest. And you can't just put a non-local consciousness into a machine without understanding what it is. Right. We're not going to be able to understand these UFOs because whatever tech is there works on those principles of consciousness. That's why they can appear and disappear, and they blink in and blink out. Right. So, if you believe some researchers and some of the witnesses and stuff like Bob Lazar, we've shot him down. He even said we dug one up from an archaeological dig. But he also said we have no idea how it works. We're so far away from understanding anything about it. So I think that's if the Israeli guy's right, and if that is the truth, then I think we're at where Bob Lazar is saying we're at, and that is we don't get it. There's a huge gap from human
and it's almost
science.
Like we lack the equipment to get it. Like we lack the physical equipment
the mental
really
ability capacity. We're maybe just shy. Well, if you get into the new age stuff, we're just a couple crystals away.
We're just
from our vibrations being right.
That's right. Which could totally be something to that. But there's one thing to say the words. We gotta change our vibrations to actually like. I've always kind of been under the impression it's literally like our physical brain lacks. Like there would have to be something extra added on. I almost feel like dolphins are going to have a better chance of being the ones that the aliens come down to talk to, because they have like the largest like prefrontal cortex. There's I saw this video a long time ago. This guy who was like super into PCP. Like I think he was like this chemist and he like made it and stuff. But he was like, he said he had this revelation one day that he realized dolphins are able to like psychically implant memories into physical objects like a sand dollar or different things, and then when another dolphin comes along or that dolphin comes back, there's like information encoded in this shit.
It can read it,
so it can read it and be like, oh, this is like, it's like
psychic dolphins feature pretty heavily in my book. Not that heavily, but it's a fun aspect of the case.
Did you ever hear about that book? What is it, Wet Goddess?
Is that one where the woman banged the dolphin?
It's a guy.
Oh no! I thought about the
Wet Goddess is the one.
They flooded an apartment building or something.
Oh no, yeah, that's the the research that was done in what
some
was his
lady
name?
banged the dolphin.
Because it's the guy that invented the float tanks.
Oh, the sensory deprivation.
Sensory deprivation. Oh my God, his name keeps almost coming up. But yeah, that's what ended his research because she ended up beating off the dolphin. But no, there's a book. Yeah, because they were in there for so long, and she had all this work
tension,
to do.
Yeah.
And the dolphin wouldn't stop humping her. She's like, "Come on, I'm trying to teach you how to talk," and you keep humping. So finally, she just did what she had to do for the research, right? But she no, there was another book that came out, went wild on Reddit a while back. It was called Wet Goddess, and it was about this guy's intimate relationship with a dolphin. He fornicated with, if you will, penetrated a dolphin. I don't know how many different ways I got to say this to you, Chaz. The guy fucked a dolphin, all right?
I'm not going to feel bad. Dolphins, they're gross.
I don't know, man.
That dolphin, I'm sure, consented.
Not the way he explains it. But yeah, he that was a question I asked him because I had him on the show.
Oh wow!
Because he's actually local, but he's like he gets pretty offended. He's like, a lot of people say that I like raped a dolphin. He's like, there's no such thing as raping a dolphin. Like, you go into the water and it's like a 300-pound animal that lives in the water. Like, not just going for a dip. Like, I'm going for a dip. He's like, it lives in the water. If that thing didn't want to be doing that, it could have killed me if it wanted. It could have left and then killed me.
Yeah, maybe it should have.
I don't know, man. To him, it was a magical union, and he ended up having like a mental, like a psychic connection with the dolphin. He knew when the dolphin actually died. He had moved. So there used to be a theme park in Nokomis, and it was like Florida Land or something like that. And
right.
It was just, and he was going to New College, just like back in the 60s or 70s, and he had a photographer friend he was the photographer, and his friend wanted him to go down and take pictures of this dolphin for a project of hers. And he tells me, as soon as we start the interview, he's like, so I've never been in love with a person, but the first time I realized I was in love with animals was I was watching the big shaggy dog, and I got an erection. And he's just, yeah, the guy.
I'm gonna have to listen to this interview.
It's the best, worst interview I've ever done because the way I set up the mics, and I was doing it over the phone with him, and his mic was so dog shit, and I couldn't salvage it with like editing. And so it exists, but I advise almost no one to go listen to it because it's. I'd rather
quality listen to and subject matter.
Right. The quality is awful, but the subject matter, I was pretty pumped about it. I think at one point I told him, I was like, "You gotta understand, like, you fucked a dolphin. Like, people are pretty weird about it. Like, you gotta be able to like crack. You gotta be able to at least like know that that's crazy, or that's crazy, right?" But he's an interesting dude. He lives down in Naples. And then he was worried that I was going to make fun of him the whole time because he called into Bubba the Love Sponge or something like that. And he said they talked to him for like 30 minutes. It was cool. And then it started in with like the just fucking with him. So they reeled him in real slow. And then they just, but
professionals.
Yeah, I know. Professionals. They knew what they were fucking doing. I think their first dolphin fucking rodeo. But he emailed me after and he goes, "I just wanted to thank you for that interview. It was really nice. Nobody's ever because I actually gave him the time of day. I wasn't like, you fucked the dolphin, you're weird. Yeah. I was like, so what was it like? When you get your dong.
Asking the hard questions.
Yeah, I need to ask the hard questions. Have you ever experimented with Craigslist?
I rented an apartment off of Craigslist.
I mean, like for your research and stuff. I find that like if you toss things out into places of like randomness, so you toss it out on Craigslist, you never know who's gonna come by it and like what kind of weird leads you're gonna get, or you can even toss them out in different towns, like Joshua Tree.
Is that how you got the dolphin guy?
That is how I got the dolphin guy. That's exactly how I got the dolphin guy. I wrote a Craigslist ad saying that I'm just looking for interesting stories to be on a podcast, and I got like a bunch of people who are like, I was beat as a kid. I was beat as well. Look, we're all beat as a kid, all right. So give me something different.
Give me a guy fucking a dolphin.
Right. And boy, did Craigslist deliver on a guy effing a dolphin.
I might have to check that out for some leads.
I think it's a interesting. Oh, do you remember the episode of and it's about just like one more thing. I mean,
no worries.
It's already 9. Did you listen to the episode of Mysterious Universe where they talked about this app, Randonautica?
Yeah, I've tried that out a couple times.
Yeah, what was your experience like?
Eh.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, did you try it on drugs?
No. Well, I was smoking weed, but I don't tend to typically count that.
Weed ain't drugs.
I don't count that. I tried it out in Mexico City a couple times. Yeah, and it got a little dangerous a couple times, so we stopped doing it.
Dangerous in what way?
It would take you to neighborhoods you shouldn't be going. Just walking around.
Well, I mean, it is Mexico City. I mean,
yeah. But no, nothing too strange. But I understand how it definitely works towards being a synchronicity generator.
Yeah.
Just with the randomness it uses, the random number generators. It's an interesting concept.
It is.
I don't know about it as like an investigation tool.
Right.
I don't know if it's necessarily that helpful, but it might be. It would be cool to get it on a more micro scale, like on like the floor plan of a house, like a haunted house.
That would be cool.
And have it generate points like that.
Right.
Then it might help. Again, get you into the headspace for like an encounter. It might stack. It might generate an initial synchronicity to start a chain of synchronicities. But I don't necessarily believe just walking around in random spots that it sends you to does.
Well, I guess the people on it, they were asking questions like it's like put something in your mind that you want to see, and people were like, I want to see a dead body, and then they'd show up and it'd be somebody tucked up in a suitcase.
That was
like, why would you ask that?
I was asking for treasure.
Treasure?
I was like, give me some fucking cash money.
Give me some treasure.
Nothing. Not even a peso.
You didn't even find any treasure?
No treasure.
You didn't want it. You didn't want the treasure bad enough. Did you create a vision board for your treasure?
Maybe that's the next step. I gotta try again with the rando.
Vision. What about Kirby Surprise? Have you checked
out? Dr. Kirby Surprise.
Dr. Kirby Surprise.
Yeah, doctor, come on now. Pay the man his dues. I've perused his work. No comment.
It's no comment. It's fascinating. All of that stuff is fascinating.
It is.
And it just seems it's weird. It's almost exhausting in a way I can't explain. Like I found myself getting like wrapped up in it here and there at different points in my life, longer ago, and it when I think back to those times, I feel exhausted in a way that I can't explain. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's strange. But I very, very interested in all that kind of stuff. It's really fun to talk about. It's really fun because it's like it's such a big part of human life that's unanswered, and it's almost like it always will, like it always has and always will. So it's like you can't help but constantly just, what is this thing? Like, what is it? Like, what am I doing? So, but thank you so much, Chaz Pilkey. Chaz Pilkey. Close enough.
Chaz of the Dead.
That's
where
you
can find me.
Right. You guys can follow him, Chaz of the Dead, at Chaz of the Dead on Instagram.com.
Yep, and Twitter, and chazofthedead.com is my website.
Yes, and you can find copies of the book
there. Yes, Paranormal Expeditions, Hunt for the Friendship. It's on Amazon, and you can find a link to it on my site as well.
That's really cool, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Hell yeah,
blast.
Nito, Frito, Bandito, we're finito.
Jiminy Christmas.
You're just jealous because I come up with cool, slick shit off the top of my dome piece.
That's it.
I know you are. What did you learn? I got one ready. You're a bigger bitch than Megan. That's what I learned today.
Oh, I hate you. But you're the biggest bitch?
No, that's you. You win. You're right.
You can't even say it without laughing. I fucking hate you.
What else did we learn?
I usually learn stuff from
The news. Yeah. And sorry, guys, nothing happened. You want to do just a news story for fun? No.
Sure, babe.
Okay. No.
It better be fucking good.
Well, I hope I got a good one.
You're the curator. Don't say you hope. You're the curator.
I saved some, guys. I'll put this one news article down in the shaft down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or in the thick of it. I'm sorry.
Well, no, yeah. Keep talking because I'm looking. Oh, here we go. This one I called Cool Hio.
Ooh, okay.
Man filmed naked rollerblading on I-670
670, I saw that.
in
Keep going.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Still a mystery.
Yeah. God, that's my hometown.
That's your homeboy.
670, yeah. Yep. That goes around downtown by the airport.
I've never heard somebody so excited by a fucking road before.
Cause it's my
A
place.
road! How many times have you been sitting in traffic on that road bitching and cursing its name?
670 is like not the funnest one to go on.
A naked man rollerblading in front of a vehicle wearing nothing but a panda hat and carrying what looks like a golf club has yet to be identified. How hard could it be, man?
670 is like spicy though, at least. You know, it's not like 270 or like 315 or something
Right?
that like goes out to the,
Right?
in the suburbs. It's like downtown, you know.
The video began circulating on social media on Wednesday. A spokesperson from the Ohio Department of Transportation who had seen the video said the ODOT cameras store information for 72 hours and that the video didn't seem shot on Wednesday. A snowy day for the city. Instead, Tuesday is the most likely. Yeah. On that day, traffic cameras at Neal Avenue were facing west, which means it did not capture the naked man in the panda head skating east.
That's right, he was in a panda head. I forgot
Did
about
it
that.
even happen?
Yeah, it did.
I mean, can we prove it? It wasn't on the ODOT cameras. Cameras are set to spin every 15 minutes, which means they were pointing the wrong direction. Sounds like this guy
Knew what he was doing.
fucking did some Mission Impossible shit and drew out the schematics and fucking...
I love it. That makes me really happy.
I learned that you just love roads. That's what I learned. What did you learn on this episode?
You're still a huge fucking bitch.
You just learned that?
No, I still.
So what did you learn on this episode?
That you're still a huge fucking
What
bitch.
did you learn on this episode?
That even when you're not on your period, you're still a huge fucking bitch.
Wow. Does it feel good to say that?
Yeah, I'm smiling. I can't even help it.
There was really like... we're trying to make jokes out here, but felt like there was something different behind that. That's just how I felt. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed listening to the interview with Chaz of the Dead. And I hope you pick up his book. That book, again, is
Paranormal Friendships.
Paranormal Expeditions, Hunt for the Friendship. A story of UFOs, Nazis, psychedelics, and an expedition to the edge of the world.
Those are literally all of our favorite things.
All of those things. Follow at Chaz of the Dead on Instagram, at Chaz of the Dead. Check that
Fantastic.
out. All right, everybody.
Stay up late. It's the holidays.
Don't
Have
stay
fun.
up late.
Party.
You know why?
Eat cookies. Eat too much. Drink too much. Stay up all night and have a good time.
I'm telling you right now.
Thanks for listening.
If you stay up all night,
Thanks for listening. Stay
Santa's
up
not
all
going to
night.
stop at your house.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Santa doesn't stop at your
Santa.
house unless you're asleep. So don't listen to Kristie because she's the bell
Stay up late.
snickle.
Party hard.
You're fucking bell snickle, you know that.